Hello everyone, and welcome back to another HUFO. This is the series where I give you my honest, unfiltered opinions on a variety of subjects that you ask me on Instagram to get involved in a future one of these. Make sure you follow me over there. But before we get to it, I want to quickly let you know that today is new merch day. The 2021 fall line of Sammy G merch is officially available over at shopsamurayguitarist.com, and it features the Transformer Samurai Guitarist. I've had this idea for a t-shirt for a while and only recently came across an amazing artist named Alan Richard who brought it to life. You can check it out over at shopsamurayguitarist.com. There are a variety of sizes, styles, and colors, and the first 30 of you to use promo code HUFO will get 10% off this specific design. Anyways, let's get to it. To kick things off, Jamie Orr asks my honest, unfiltered opinion on making money off of original music. It's very difficult, especially since the traditional means of doing so have mostly dried up. Most people don't buy music anymore, they stream it, which pays very little, and touring is still a bit of a mess, though it seems like it's starting to come back. However, there are some alternative sources of revenue that I'm not sure every artist considers. One of those would be uploading your music to a stock audio library, which is a place where people can go and download your song and put it in something like a YouTube video without having to pay you a royalty. I've never uploaded my music to these places. I'm not sure how well they pay, but it's probably a few extra bucks. I do know a few artists who seem to be financing their career through doing this kind of thing. Another option is working with a music supervisor to get your music placed in films, TV shows, and commercials. The dollars for this can be huge. However, the chances of that big payoff are pretty slim, though there is still a middle class for this type of thing. Really though, since it's so easy to record and release original music, I think that the value of the product is way lower than it's ever been. It's a tough world out there. The ability to think outside of the box and adapt to an ever-changing landscape are crucial tools. Harry295, whose username is perhaps a reference to my dream guitar, the ES295, asks my opinion on TikTok guitarists. Man, I have been a user of TikTok for like 8 months now, and some of the stuff I see on there is just sheer lunacy. Maybe I'll do a full video on this at some point, because some of the things that people do with guitars in order to get views on the platform are ridiculously dumb. Besides that, there is some great talent on there. The algorithm is quite powerful, but I also never leave TikTok thinking that I spend my time well. Gus Dubus 21 asks, what is a band that I will absolutely never enjoy listening to? Ooh, this is a fun one. Way to go, Gus the Bus. I will do one better for you. I'll go through a bunch of genres and tell you the bands that are within that genre that I like the least. Rock, depending on how you want to define the genre, would probably be Nirvana. I've listened to all their albums at some point, and it's just one of those things that I don't like the sound of. I respect them. I think Kurt Cobain was a great artist. I get what they were trying to do. I get the appeal, but anytime that they come onto the radio, I change the station. And I'm willing to admit that this might be a big part of the problem. They get played on the radio a lot where I live, and as a guy who drives a 2010 Toyota Corolla that doesn't have Bluetooth or an aux cable, I end up listening to the radio a lot. So anything that gets played too much, especially something that you don't really like to begin with, ends up being something you dislike more. Okay, let's do jazz. For this genre, the band that I absolutely will never enjoy is the 80s vocalese group Manhattan Transfer. Their goofy vocalized versions of jazz standards are the worst thing that I think I've ever heard. For pop, gotta be Chris Brown. Just seems like an awful human being, and his music has no redeeming qualities to my ear. With country, I really don't like 95% of most pop country. However, most artists have at least one song that I enjoy. For example, Luke Bryan is one of my least favorite artists. However, his song Rain is a Good Thing is a great song in my mind, which also has a great solo. But my most despised artist in this genre that I don't even like to begin with is Jason Aldean. I don't like his voice. I don't like a single one of his songs. I don't like his persona. Maybe he's a nice guy, but everything about him musically is something that I don't like. Casson Hayden asks my HUFO on the evil nature of all music today, especially in pop, rap, etc. The evil nature of today's music. Yeah, I don't know about this one. Robert Johnson was singing about selling his soul to the devil back in the 30s. At one point, Elvis was apparently corrupting the nation. The Beatles were corrupting the nation. Jazz was corrupting the nation. And then there was this band in the 70s called Black Sabbath, who definitely would not have appealed to the Maud Flanders, Reverend Lovejoy types. My opinion is, if you don't want to listen to music that exposes the darker side of life, fine. You're probably going to miss out on a lot of good music. But there are also people out there whose favorite meal is plain white toast. I mean, Jason Aldean is selling his songs to someone. But this narrative that the evil music of today is corrupting the youth has been going on forever. Maybe, just maybe, it's not music that causes kids to act out. Maybe it's shitty parents who would rather blame an external factor instead of considering the fact that maybe it's their shitty parenting skills that are the root of the problem. I'm not even sure if this was what the original commenter was even talking about, but hey, that's the rant that I felt like going on. Ooh, I'm feeling a bit ragey now. Let's keep this going. Big Chef Gazpacho asks, my Hufo on the video game music isn't real music argument. It's an idiotic concept that belongs in the trash. Funny Monkey 55 asks my opinion on Smoke on the Water / Wonderwall jokes. They're the absolute bottom of the musical humor barrel, but we've all done it. Any comment fuels the algorithm, so f it, bring them on. Hufo on Eric Clapton, one of the all-time guitar greats, but by many accounts has never been all that great of a guy. And also his new song, what's it called? This Has Gotta Stop or something. Subject matter, the lyrics aside, is one of the worst songs that I've ever heard by a world-renowned recording artist. I had to check the credits to make sure Jason Aldean didn't co-write it. All right, now that that's out of my system, Canadian Hypocrite asks my opinion on Limp Bizkit. I don't know if it's a nostalgia thing, but I recently watched their performance from Coachella and really enjoyed it. And I wasn't ever even a Limp Bizkit fan. So I don't know, that threw me for a loop. Were they always good? Moving on, Victor Lucky asks my Hufo on drum samples replacing real instruments in many professional recordings. I think what he's referring to here is drum triggering, which is when you play a drum part, but each one of your hits is picked up by a sensor, which converts that information to MIDI, which then triggers pre-recorded drum sounds instead of using the sounds that would be acoustically made through your drum kit. There's a number of reasons why you would do this. There's quite a lot more versatility with the sounds you can use. If you do your drum session and then realize that you want a different snare drum sound, it's easy to swap it out, whereas if you had played it acoustically, you're just stuck with that sound. It also makes things way easier to edit as well. It's significantly cheaper. You now no longer need to go into an expensive studio with great acoustics and high-end mics. You can now record drums from your bedroom. My thoughts are, if it gets you the sounds that you're looking for, power to you. If it's done well, I don't think that I could tell the difference. So as a consumer, if I enjoy it, all I care about is the end product. I don't care how it was recorded. However, as a musician who is finally starting to break ground on an album of my own, I don't think I would use drum triggering as a first choice unless I was trying to go for a specific drum machine type sound. I've found that if you have too many options or variables at any step of the recording process, it can be kind of overwhelming and you spend too much creative energy trying to achieve that unachievable sense of perfection. Whereas if you just commit to one sound and then you commit to the next sound, you will approach the whole thing with a very different mindset than if you know you can change everything after the fact. When there's some limitations along the way, it can lead to some cool, organic, unique vibes, which may end up being a little bit rough around the edges, but that gives the music its character. A Rogue Story asks, what's a supergroup that I would like to see formed? I'd like to see a trio where Davey 504, Adam Neely, and Charles Berthoud all play clarinet. Next up, Christopher, whose name gets cut off, asks my opinion on the new Fender Player Plus guitars. Check it out. They actually sent me one. It only showed up today though. I've played it for about 30 minutes, but my initial thoughts are very positive. I haven't played a Mexican Fender since probably the early 2000s, and this guitar is so much better than I remember those guitars being. My first impressions are, if I didn't know that this was a Mexi Strat, I would assume that it would carry a significantly higher price tag. Pedro Pasmino asks, how do I balance being a father and a YouTuber? It isn't easy. It's unlike any other job that I've ever done in the sense that I am very much the business, so when numbers aren't going well, when the algorithm isn't giving you a whole lot of love, it's hard not to feel that personally. On the flip side of it, when things are going well, you gotta find a way to make sure that kind of thing doesn't go to your head. On top of that, since I work from home on a job that is my passion, I'm kind of always in this gray area of always working, but also kind of never working. Whereas when I've had set hours, I was able just to clock out and leave it all there. But the thing I try to do to bring a sense of balance, and it's definitely something I haven't perfected yet, but I try to do, is that when I'm with my son, I set all the business stuff aside and just be a present father, and also make sure that there is time in my day that's scheduled where I will do that and nothing else can get in the way of that. And last for today, Riley Transu asks, is it best to leave music as a side hustle or pursue it full time? This is a really hard job in its own unique ways. The number of people who've gone down the path that you're talking about after trying to stick it out full time are far more than the people who ended up having a full career as a full-time musician. If you can find happiness in having a steady job and doing music on the side, it's gonna make your life so much simpler. But I will say, from my experience, the best things in my life have come from the fact that I've committed myself to this 100% all the way. At no point has this ever been easy for me. I don't think it ever will be easy. But when I hit upon that thing that I'm really excited about, be it a video idea, a musical example, a merch design, an Instagram jam, it's a very, very special thing for me. And the fact that I have a somewhat sizable audience who will pay attention makes it even that much more special. Take from that what you will. I truly hope that whatever decision you make brings you to your definition of happiness. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Another Hoofo. We laughed, we cried, we ripped on Jason Aldean. That's a good video in my books. If you want to get involved in a future one of these, make sure you follow me over on Instagram, and a big thanks to all you beauties who sent in subjects for this video. And remember, you can get the new merch design 10% off when you use promo code HUFO over at shopsamuraiguitarist.com. Over there, I've got this shirt in a bunch of different sizes, styles, and colors, as well as all the other merch designs that you see on this channel. Thank you all for watching. If you want to get caught up in this series, hit that link up there. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, and stay tuned for a wide range of musical content. Until next time, look after yourselves, look after each other, look after the planet. I'm Samurai Guitarist, and I'll see you again soon.